Hey everybody, what's going on? What's crack-a-lacking? Hope everybody's having a good start to their week. Yeah. So if you guys give me a 5 for 5, we'll go ahead and rock on out. Tell me if my audio's okay. I got some background noise. I just want to make sure you guys can't hear it. Hey Daniel, what's up, bud? Hope you're doing well too, my friend. Daryl, Butterfly, Brian. Okay, we're 5 for 5. Cool. Hey, Miss Dragon. Hey, Ron 4G. What's up? Alan G. Butterfly, Leah. My sister. That's right. Heather Joy. Hey, good to see you. Miss Dragon, good to see you. Thanks, guys, for being here. The doctor. Alan. His real lights. I like that name. Shalom. Back at you. Shalom. You'll probably know what I mean when I say Yahusha then, right? I'm not going to get into that discussion, but there's a reason I use that name. I think everybody probably knows why. That has any idea what that is. But anyway, yeah, guys. Hey, Trish, what's going on? Saying hi to everybody. I am going to be kind of announcing a new channel schedule. I'm going to try to stick to a specific time. I'm going to live stream at least once a day. It's going to be roughly between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, that's when I can kind of guarantee that I can, within that 2-hour time frame, I will try my best to have a live stream every day. Now, there's going to be those occasions when my daughter has something going on that I won't be able to make it during that time. But on those days, I'm up almost all night. I think you guys kind of know that already. Because sometimes I'll stream at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, just depending on what's going on. And I do want to say thanks to everybody, my mods especially. You guys have really been there for me and just been here. Yeah. And anybody that has a channel knows that you can't have a channel without mods. You just can't. It's a hard job and it's a thankless job. So tell the mods thanks. I mean, seriously, it's a big deal. It really truly is. It can make or break a chat. And if your channel is highly about your chat, which kind of mine is, because we built a connection there over the years, it can make or break your channel. It really can. And that's why we choose not to have drama. And my mods do a really good job of balancing that out, letting people say what they need to say as long as it's respectful. We don't always have to agree, but it doesn't have to be disrespectful. And I'm saying that because of a whole lot of things. Hey, Aaron, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that super chat, man. That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, guys, my super chat stuff is on. I'm trying to start memberships up this week. So if you guys have any cool emojis you want me to add to something like that, people that choose to do something, get special emojis they get to use. And it's just a small little perk that you get. It's just kind of cool stuff. But if you guys have anything you want me to include in that, let me know and I'll try to make an emoji out of it. We have to make our own emojis. So that is what it is. All right, guys. So yeah, we have got some space weather to talk about here. It's there's a huge sunspot. I mean, this thing is massive. Okay, and I'm going to talk about something called the parallax effect also. And because I want you guys to really grasp how big this sunspot actually is. We can't see the full brunt of it yet because it's not exactly facing us directly yet. So we really can't give a good idea of if it's harboring enough power to really give us enough energy to give us M and X class flaring. I think it looks like it probably will. And we're talking about this sunspot over here. And I got you here on, this is SDO. And again, it's the one that's in geosynchronistic orbit. Actually, let's just do this before I go any further. I'm tired of repeating that. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me say it. I guess what I'm saying is I don't have to say it. I can just show it to you, and it will be quicker. Okay? So this is where this satellite's at. It's in what's called geosynchronistic orbit, which all it means is it stays over the same part of our planet at all times. It rotates. See how it's rotating? It keeps its eye on the sun. So in other words, it's rotating at 15 degrees an hour around our axis, just like we are. Okay? But it does this figure 8 pattern. So what that does is it kind of eliminates some of the missed data we would have, because every once in a while you will find that this has an eclipse season. The Earth will go between the satellite and the sun. That simple. And it blocks it, and it's just for a few frames. It's not like it's an all-day thing. It's just, I used to think that that was a big deal, because it looks really crazy when you look at it when it's happening. But once you understand how this satellite works, it's no longer crazy to you. You understand what's going on there. It's just so simple to see. So, you got usually two eclipse seasons a year. I can't remember exactly what the dates are on those, but it's forecastable. I can tell you 10 years down the road when exactly those eclipses are going to be, and they will happen. So that's what I'm saying. I say that for another reason, just to put people's mind at ease that there ain't nothing strange going on there, or isn't anything strange going on there. It's just how it works. Okay, so that's where this imaging is coming from. It's from that satellite. All right. But do you see? This is a magnetogram. This is colorized, and the reason why it's colorized is going to show you positive and negative. All right, positive is over here on the right, the blue, and then the negative is the red here on the left. Now I want to point something out first off: the parallax effect. Parallax effect means, and it's anything you look at that's a sphere. Okay, if you're a distance away from the sphere, anything that's on like the sides will appear smaller than what it actually is. So this thing may not grow, but as it turns in to face us directly, it will appear to get bigger. Now I'm not saying it ain't going to get bigger, because it definitely, you can fit planets inside of this hole. These cores. Okay? It's not a hole, it's a sunspot, but the black cores on the black and white magnetogram, and I might show you that here in a minute. But as you can see, guys, I mean, it's a large hole. You can fit Earth, like over here on this one. You can fit Earth right inside that. That's how big these holes are, or sunspots are. But when you get the positive and negative swirling with each other, and I talk about this a lot, it's just like the filament thing, right? So you got positive, negative, and when they start swirling with each other, they start to, lack of a better term, so everybody understands, just kind of interacting with each other, shorting out, whatever you want to say. It starts having issues. Okay? So it starts to flare. You see that little, you can see it happening, especially on these big ones. And I've shown it to you guys multiple times, believe it or not. When we had the hyperactive flare about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that thing was flickering like a Christmas tree. This one's starting to do the same thing. Now, right now, it's giving us C-class flares, which is not a big deal. But it's over here. So, as this thing starts to face Earth, we got to pay attention to it. It's drawing plasma from the backside of the sun through a magnetic connection line. And I'm going to show that to you. Okay? We don't oftentimes get to see it like this, but this one is photogenic enough, and it's on the limb, so we get to see it, because space is the actual background. Okay? So this is the 304 angstrom, and it's just part of the light spectrum that we can't see with our eyes, right? So they put a filter on it, and they could have, named this whatever, they gave it whatever color they wanted, right? But this one here on the 304, they've chosen to make it red. And what you're looking at ionized helium. It's a gas, okay? So when we see these gases, when you see the different angstroms, that's what they're doing. They're picking out different gases that are part of the sun. So that one's purple. That's the 211. That's the 131 angstrom. It's kind of a teal color. And they can give it whatever color they want. That's the 94 angstrom. So, hey Jammer, what's up, brother? Now, I'm going to show you this because it's easy to show in this specific format, because, again, we don't oftentimes get to see it like this kind of dramatically, I guess, if we want to use these words. So here's the big sunspot, right? So if I go forward here, you're going to see it reach all the way back. You're going to see a bunch of plasma solar rain. I mean, it really reaches all the way over here. It's crazy. I mean, it's normal, but it's crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to show it to you. Here we go. Come on. I might have took you guys back too far. I think I did. I did. Hold on. Let's go over here to this one. I got it set up on this other one. Right here. Hopefully I do. I thought I did anyway, so I ain't wasting your guys' time. That was my goal. Not to waste your time. So, anyway, let's try this one. Yeah, here we go. Now, did you see that thing like kind of just a little bit right there? I'm going to zoom in even more. I'm going to go in as far as I can to give you guys the best look at this thing. Now, I'm sorry it's taking a second here, but I do want to be able to give you the best look at this as you guys can get, so you get the full brunt of what I'm trying to show you. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. Here we go. So you see that just kind of bounced through there? Now that's not what I'm talking about though. It did transfer, but watch this plasma stand up over the limb of the sun. Look at that. And watch it draw right into that sunspot. See that? I'm going in reverse there. Somebody tell me that's not cool. That is one of the best examples I've seen of a magnetic connection line being made, completing that magnetic circuit, and then plasma traveling on that line. Okay? This is very similar to how solar wind gets here to our planet. You just can't see it like this. Okay? So, look at all that rain, that plasma rain. Look at all that. This stuff amazes me. I'm sorry I get a little excited on this stuff, but it just amazes me. I mean, it's just crazy. Look at that. Let me know what you guys think about that, because that's one of those things I really wanted to show you because I thought it was just so cool. Now, to talk about what this sunspot can do is the next conversation we need to have. Because this thing could start firing. And again, I can't give you 100%, and I know I say that a lot, but I just think it's a mistake to claim something 100% when you just can't. Nobody can. Nobody can predict the future as far as down to the minute, here it is, whatever, right? So, here's the 171, and again, I'm not going to go zooming in or anything, but we've also had another eruption down here. Okay, that happened as I was setting up for this live stream. And that's on the back side. That's not going to be coming at us. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to just kind of reset that right there and see what we get. Give us a couple more images. Now remember, guys, what I've done here, I've set this up in a way you get to see what's going on now. This is what the sun looked like back in 2020 during solar minimum. That's just me showing you that, hey, you know, the sun was not active back then, and how much more active it is now. Okay, so we had a couple eruptions over here, one here and one here, right at the end. Okay, and I was already setting up for this live stream, but I don't think any of those are going to affect us. Okay, that's why I'm not too concerned about it. But you can see here, guys, that this sunspot is big. It's a big one. So, and I panned out here so you guys can kind of see on the right here on the 304 how tall that stuff is standing up. Okay? So, yeah. Now, we also have a coronal hole. We have actually 3 of them. We got one opening up again. Okay? And when I say opening up, and it's a coronal hole, okay? The atmosphere of the sun gets a hole in it. It opens up. It exposes the surface, and plasma flows out. And when that stuff, those charged particles, when they flow out, that's solar wind. That in itself can open us up to geomagnetic storming, okay? See this spot right here? Remember the parallax effect. It's still in play right there. Okay, it's not directly facing us, so we still got kind of a sideways look at this. And what that means is that this spot is most likely bigger than what it looks like. Okay? Not to mention that it's growing. These things can open up with the snap of a finger. Oftentimes you'll see a filament release, right? A CME will happen, and then you get a coronal hole that stays open. Sunspots will oftentimes live on the edge of these things. Okay? So I'm bringing that up just to give you guys an idea of what's going on here. So back, let's see here, earlier yesterday, okay, about 12 hours ago, that sunspot wasn't even open. So, yeah. Now, as I go forward here, pay attention to it opening here, but something else I noticed right on the end, it's opening up here too. So what that's telling me is that these things are probably going to try to grow together. So why does Wages World say that? You see how dark it is here, right? That's definitely opened up. That's another hole. We got one on the southern, now we got one on the northern. When you start seeing those things grow together and cross the equatorial plane, the equatorial region, that's another suggestion that we're progressing in the sun cycle. Things are going to continue to get bigger, better, brighter, and just start, just a lot more activity. We do oftentimes see a lot of coronal holes during solar minimum. Just having low solar activity, see the sun over here, is inherently kind of, I guess, popcorning the atmosphere of the sun and letting more plasma just kind of go out because it doesn't have all that energy right now. Okay? So the corona doesn't have all that back in 2020 during solar minimum. Look, you guys see the difference in the corona? Look at this. See how you can see the haze here on this one? It's barely here. This is the difference of how energetic our star was in 2020 compared to now. This is important for us to understand because the more active stuff gets, the more chance we have of things coming. And it's already been shown, so many times. And I've shown you guys the sun cycle a lot. And that sun cycle, this particular sun cycle, is definitely more active than what they thought it was going to be. Okay? But does that mean we're going to take a big blast? No. It just means that our chances of taking those kinds of hits are increased. Okay? That's essentially what the difference of solar maximum and solar minimum really means to us. The sun becomes more active, so in other words, we're getting more bullets flung at us. That's what I'm saying. Okay? It's just, yeah, kind of crazy. But let me take you guys down here. I'm not really going to show you a whole lot of the other angstroms here because, I wanted to show you guys those two in particular because I just think it's real cool the way that sunspot is actually making connections on the other side of the sun. It reached that far. Now, this is the 94 angstrom again. This is the one that really does show sunspots really well, at least when they start to flare. You can see it just kind of localized. Now, I noticed here on the end that we've got an eruption right here. This, to me, looks like a flare. It's happening right now, so I can't really give you a whole lot of data on that or any kind of heads up, really, other than to say, hey, thank you, Sue. I really appreciate you. Really do. Hey, let me tell you something, Sue. You guys lift me every time. I've been struggling a little bit, and I kind of shared a little bit with you guys. It gets lonely out here sometimes. It really does. I don't have a whole lot of I guess, people that do what I do. Um, and to be honest, I really don't have a whole lot of friends in my real life. And don't feel sorry for me. I'm not asking for that. I just want you guys to understand sometimes that's why my mood changes a little bit. And it's nothing. If I ever start being like that, my mods will usually tell me, "Hey, dude, what are you doing? Snap out of that funk." Ilea, Rip, and Trinity are yanking a knot in my tail. Jammer will too. So we don't need to be coming out here and pushing our negativity off on everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't. Because believe me, I can. I usually wear my feelings on my sleeve, but I think that's a positive trait. It can be negative if you let it. So, but anyway. So, that right there I really think that's a flare that's happening right this second. Okay? And it actually is on this side of the sun. You can see the loop here. I'll tell you what we can do. Let's go over here to NOAA. Let's update this. See, this hasn't updated in a few. Not sure why. It usually does update a little quicker than that. But maybe we don't have, maybe it's not a big enough flare. Might not be pushing a whole lot of X-ray out. But it looked to me like it could have been. But check that out. Okay, this is the black and white version of the colorized one I showed you earlier. Okay. Now this is on the GHOST satellite. See how big that spot is? That's a core. So you can fit Earth in this one. So you can probably fit 2 Earths in that one. And then these are starting to rotate through. So, yeah, it's going to start to appear the size that it actually is what I'm saying. Okay? And also, guys, you guys come over here to LASCO C3. This is on the SOHO Observatory. That's a planet. Okay? So don't think it's anything else. I don't know what planet it is. I can go look, but I'll share that with you in the next live stream. It's just coming into the field of view. Grandma Cherry, thank you. Hey, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. Very, 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 very cool. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Really are. Can't even say it enough. Yeah. To be honest with you, I was in a pretty funky mood until I started this live stream. So thank you. You guys are awesome. Hey, Kathy. Iciander, hey, thank you. Hey, Hilly. Thank you, Iciander. That's a cool little super sticker. I like that. Thank you. Appreciate you. Something else I want to ask everybody too, guys. What time is best for you guys? Because I don't want to leave that out of the mix here. Because I am going to be streaming every day. I might take 1 or 2 days off, but I'll let you guys know when those are going to happen. And I'll try to do that one day on the weekend and one day through the week. But I'll probably still do a small little 15 or 20 minute just update every day. Because, frankly, my family goes to bed and I'm stuck out here in the living room by myself. So, I mean, there's no reason why I can't at least give you something in the middle of the night and you guys can wake up and watch it or what have you. But let me know what time works for you guys, if you guys could. Matter of fact, be looking out for this. What I'll do is I'll post a poll in my community tab. And I'll just put time frames there, and you guys can vote on it, what works best for you guys, or when you would rather watch, that kind of thing. And also, I'm going to say this too. If somebody else is live streaming that we all watch, or if you're watching them and that kind of a thing, that does not hurt my feelings. I would much rather you guys watch them and then come watch me on replay. I have no problem with that, especially if it's like Adam or Tommy or somebody like that, or Rip or anybody that's posting videos, Ilea, Trinity. If Trinity's live, guys, please go watch her. Her channel's growing and she's doing a great job over there. So she needs our support just like everybody else. So 5 Pacific, which is 8, yeah, about right now. So yeah, cool. I know, Kathy. No, I appreciate that. No, I really do. Hey, Jennifer. Cheryl, what's up? George, what's happening? All right, guys. So, yeah, I'll be looking for that poll, though, because I will put that up. All right, now this is Soho. Okay, this is not SDO. It's a Soho satellite right here. Okay, Earth's here, satellite here, sun is here. This sits out in front of us. It's always looking at the sun, so keep that in mind. This just happened a few hours ago right here. Okay, that was that southerly eruption that I showed you guys there. And that's on the backside, guys. That is not going to come at us. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about, like, trying to jump out here and be like, hey, this is what's happening. Okay, so that's that eruption just in particular. So let me go back here, and we'll go and check out the full day on the 19th. Okay, now we had a pretty sizable one here too. And again, I did not jump out here because this is on the backside. All right, I don't want to come out here and say, hey, this is coming at us, only for me to make the same mistake I made 3 weeks ago and do that and be wrong. So that's why I waited. We have time to be patient, and I've been trying to really hammer that home, because I don't necessarily, it's nice to be the first one to share with you guys, but that's not my goal. My goal is to share with you guys stuff that's relevant and stuff that's actually happening, and to get it correct. So if I have to wait an extra 12 hours and everybody else has already jumped out there and said what they had to say, I've done it. I don't typically point it out, because I don't point out other people's flaws like that. But I've seen people do it over and over and over again that make mistakes. Not intentionally. They just come out here too quick. If they'd have waited 6, 12 hours, because we can when we're talking about CMEs. We can when we're talking about flares. Because when I show you guys a flare, it's already hit. It's here in 8 minutes. There's nothing else I can share with you something that's going to happen that we can do to stop or prepare or react to, right? And this is why I do my channel at all. So I want you guys to have those tools and to not necessarily need somebody like myself to show you what's going on in the grand scheme of things, because when the big things happen, I'm not going to be able to get out here and tell you. There's not going to be an internet. There's not going to be electricity. If the big stuff happens while I'm alive. It just simply won't be there. And that is my goal, is to give you guys the ability to understand at least the basic level of what's going on around you when those things happen. So you're not scared. You can make the best decision for your family. And again, I'm not saying anything drastic is going to happen today, tomorrow, or a year from now. I simply don't know. I'm just giving you guys the ability, at least from my basic knowledge here, I'm sharing it with you, so you guys can have that ability also to understand, so you don't make a knee-jerk reaction when these things pop off. Because when you make knee-jerk reactions, guys, nothing is being done correctly. You're scared. That's why you make that reaction. And when things are happening in fear, nothing good comes from fear. All right? What concern is different, okay? When you're concerned and reacting to something because it's the right way, the right thing to do, that's different than being in fear. We're eliminating that fear by making people aware. And I surrounded myself with people that do the same thing. I really have. All, my mods, all the channels they run, same thing. Marfugal, same thing. They're trying to help people be aware of what could happen. And we give you guys the exact information where it's at. But anyway, what you're seeing here, guys, is space weather coming from the sun on the left and traveling to the right. Okay? This is our magnetopause. Basically, it's our magnetic field. You got two different cuts here. You got dawn and dusk here. Okay? So if you can kind of picture that in your mind. And then you got north and south here. So you got a side cut, you got a cut that you're looking up from. Let's see here, is it the bottom or the top? Either way, it doesn't matter. You're getting I think it's a top-down view. I could be wrong. It could be a bottom-up view, but I think it's top-down. But you can see this is velocity, okay? You can see little waves coming in, and this isn't anything excessive. Okay, the darker red colors are the faster ones, but the darker blue are just as fast as those dark red ones. They just have a different magnetic polarity. You'll oftentimes see this in the back of our magnetosphere. And the reason why is it's a reconnection point. Stuff will hit us in the front, it'll deflect out, and then when it gets back here, the polarity of it will actually draw it back into the backside. Okay? So just understand that that's what's actually happening. And when you see these like things looks like they come from the back and hit us, yes, there are space weather does come from the back once in a while. But the majority of what you're seeing is a reconnection, magnetic connection in the back. Okay? I'm not going to get into detail because that could be a whole series of videos. This is density. The low density is the white. You see how that hit right there? That's higher dense material, right? So let me show you where that came from. I was looking at the Discover data. This is our space weather data, all right? -6 is the BZ. I always talk about that. Just remember -6 on the red line. If you don't want to have to try to understand it completely, just remember that. If it's not -6, typically we won't even get a geomagnetic storm at all. That means our magnetic field's in a position to deflect it. Now, when you see the phi angle, that's the actual polarity of the solar wind itself. The solar wind that comes from like coronal holes, the ambient solar conditions, we always have some solar wind hitting at all times. Okay? Now, this is the density, and this caught my eye because when you look over here, we go 1, 10 to 100, right? Usually this thing says 0, 0.1, 1, and 10. The only time it starts to change its values here is when we're getting a dense hit, and we did. I wasn't expecting this. I don't think anybody was. Okay, so you got like a 38 on the density there. It got pretty high. And at the same time, our velocity rose. Okay? So what's that mean? Well, don't mean a whole lot, but what it does mean is that when these move at the same time, that means typically we're getting hit with either a coronal hole stream or a CME of some sort. Usually what you see is if the density increases, the velocity, the speed will decrease. So when these move, both of them move up at the same time, we're taking a hit of some sort. Now, it might not be enough to really too much worry about, because it's not. All right? But they both went up. So I think we caught like a sideways blow, a really small CME. It's hard to see some of these CMEs, guys. Okay? So I'll take you here, and I'll show you why. When you're looking at the sun, okay, now if we're looking at seeds, right, where we can see the eruptions, this black occulter disc is an actual disc on the camera. We can't see behind that. It's a physical disc. It's a barrier. It blocks the light so we can get an image at all. So what do we got to look at? Well, we can look at SDO, right? Well, there's a problem with that too, because the sun now is the background, not the black of space. If something's coming right at us, the sun is actually going to be the background. It camouflages things. Okay? So we miss things, especially when it's very active in solar maximum, which is what we're headed towards. And frankly, for all intents and purposes, we're there. Okay? So, we're active. The sun is very active. And even in solar maximum, guys, there's going to be slow times and more intense times. Now, the slow times are probably going to be a little shorter, and they're not going to be as slow. the intense times are going to be a bit more intense, if not a lot. We're just going to have to watch. So, yeah. So I do think that we took a density hit right there, and that's why you've seen these, the magnetosphere models, react like that, okay? There's really nothing else that's going to do that, guys, okay? And that's just what it is. So if we're looking at the magnetic pressure, same thing. This is our magnetopause, magnetosphere. And what you're going to see, you're probably going to see another wave come in. It'll react here too. See that? See all that intense pressure just for a few minutes? See that? And it goes away. Earth deflected that beautifully. We didn't get hardly any kind of rays in the KP. It was very minimal. Okay? That's how we measure geomagnetic activity, by this KP number. All right? It's just a unit of measurement. And when we get to a KP of 5, that is a G1 storm. See how low we are? Now, if we stay low, like at 1 or 0 for multiple days, then we have to start talking about cosmic rays, because that's radiation that's getting through. We need some activity from the sun to keep us strong and to help us deflect stuff. Okay? So, I would just say that. Now, I will show you this too. This is the ACE data. Now, this is that same BZ I was talking about. It only goes to -6 here. Or does it say 4? No, that's 6. But you can see how the BZ actually went positive right here. And that happened at the same time as this density hit happened. You see that right here? What that means is exactly what I was saying earlier. When the BZ goes positive, it will help deflect stuff. The polarity is not in the right position to really draw it in on our poles. I don't think that that's updated on that X-ray flux either. That's odd to me. I don't know why it hasn't. Let's check this. Let me look here, guys. There's another place to check X-ray stuff. You can check it right here on this. This is the X-ray background, normal X-ray background. You can see the absorption. And that's what this model's showing. Sorry about that. But you can see when flares show up, guys, it's almost like a bullseye right there. See that? Okay. Well, maybe that's all we're getting right now. And why am I say that? See how I've tried to find how intense it gets? And usually if it's a bigger hit, it's going to keep getting more intense. But this one actually fades off on the end. See how it faded off right there? So, yeah. This particular eruption here, or flaring I was showing you guys earlier, right here, may not be strong enough to put us into M-class range or anything like that. It definitely didn't look like it really fired off any kind of huge CME or anything. Let's let that thing... It's still... Okay, let me explain this to you guys. As long as you see that brightness, it's producing X-ray. So this is a long duration kind of thing going on right now. Now, it doesn't look like it's a huge thing, but if we get into like M-class range, like I said earlier, I'll show you this. If you get into M-class range, that means you got radio blackouts happening. R1 radio blackout. And those typically won't last anything longer than an hour, but it affects first responders mainly. And also where this one was located, okay, right now, it really wouldn't be affecting a whole lot of people anyway because it's over the water. Remember, guys, almost anything that happens here on the planet, it's going to happen over water. 30% of the time it's going to happen over land. Why? Because the planet is 70% water. That's why. So it can affect mariners and things like that. But when these flares hit, okay, you see how broad they can be. So they will affect a lot of things and a lot of people. So when they happen, especially when they happen over land, like over big cities and things, it can affect how fast the first responder can get somewhere. because they use those radio frequencies to connect, and that's how they dispatch. Okay? So, and talk to each other. That's how they communicate. So an hour of disruption can be really bad, especially if you got somebody that's sick that just happens to have a heart attack or something like that during that kind of a thing. And, you know, it slows things down. It's just nice to know when that thing's happening. Stuff like that's going on. So, let's go over here and I'm actually going to X out of that. This is the geoelectric field. This is the electric field at the surface, okay? And it's showing you the effects of space weather on artificial electrical components, wires, wall switches, your car battery, anything like that. It isn't just naturally grown or made, all right? It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of activity. And this typically will move when geomagnetism's happening also. Now, they're teaming up here with USGS, and we all know that space weather affects seismic activity. They're just trying to figure out exactly how and how much it affects it. I'm under my opinion, okay? Opinion, it affects seismic activity every time. It's just so easy to see. So, that's what I would say to that. Can I tell you specifically? No, I am not the earthquake knowledge person at all, period. I would push you to all the other ones. Ron, Emergency and Management Associates, all the big ones too, guys. I mean, we all know who they are. So, go check them out, whoever you like to watch. You know, regardless of their method, if they get predictions right, it's kind of hard to argue with that. You know what I mean? So, just saying. But this is spaceweather.com, guys, and Dr. Tony Phillips has popped this out. He's talking about the same thing here. It's Sunspot AR 3590. And that means a whole lot of nothing to you guys, right? Because it doesn't mean a whole lot to me, other than the fact that it helps me track what sunspots are what. That's why that number means something. So, with that being said, yeah, you need... Give me a second, guys. Hold on a minute. All right. So, guys, be looking for that poll coming. All right. I just want to let you guys know, thank you guys for being there for me and being here all the time. You guys are awesome. I can't say it enough. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. So look for that poll, what time you guys want to be having. Look for memberships coming this week. Thank you guys for super chatting earlier. You guys are awesome. I can't tell you how much that's helping me and my family right now. And again, I'm not going to come out here and cry and all that stuff, right? Just not going to happen. I just appreciate you guys. Just know that, all right? And again, I really look forward to the memberships because I feel like we can get to really become... I don't know. It's going to give us a more direct contact, is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to do that just in a regular chat. We do it pretty good already, but I think we can even take it to the next step. And again, guys, I can't say thank you enough to anybody that's ever helped me. Any of you guys that's just stuck around, you know. And I'm trying to, like I said, I'm going to be more consistent, and I have been. Especially this past month, I'm in a groove now, and my biggest mistake before was I didn't come out and tell you when I wasn't going to be here. I will from now on. That's a promise. If I'm going to miss a day, you're going to see a post from me saying, this is why I'm not here and this is what's going on. That was my fault. I should have never have done it like that. I should have just simply made a 10-second post for you guys. That way you guys wouldn't have been wondering. You know, I don't really have an excuse for that other than the fact that I did have stuff going on, those kinds of things, but it still doesn't excuse I could have just done that really quick like. So thank you guys for continuing to support me and being here, and my family. My family loves you guys too. They watch too. My daughter said thanks for all the good birthday wishes you sent to her. Yeah. she got to see a lot of those already. So it's pretty cool. So thank you guys for that. She really liked that. But anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves. You'll see me tomorrow. You can drink this Kool-Aid.